So guys, who's right and who's wrong?
We just made history right there. We just made, no one's gonna remember who won this tournament like in next month or a year from now. Everyone's gonna remember the Peelies coming together to take out the pros, to take out the sweats and have an insane game. The organization that we had was nuts.
So massive controversy is emerging from the $100,000 The Reunion tournament hosted by Boom TV. There are many angles and narratives that people are trying to convey. Where is the truth, and will we even reach a consensus? The boiling point was reaching Game 6, where content creators who were involved in the tournament under the pretense that it was an OG tournament, it was meant to be a bit of fun with a few professional players. Although come the day of the tournament, at least half the teams had 2 professional pros in it. I'm sure that this would be frustrating, and I don't think content creators like Dr. Disrespect would have shown up under these circumstances.
Got a whole bunch of OG creators, as well as some of the most well-known pro players. Now, because we were told this tournament was supposed to be a bit fun, a bit casual, but we pretty quickly found out that a lot of the pros who were invited, they invited another pro to play with them. For this next game, I had an idea. Us content creators have been getting smashed for the entire tournament. So I posted in chat, we should all go bananas and form a banana army. So for the final round of this tournament, things got a little bit crazy.
This has caused a massive divide with the pro community and the obviously more casual community. With the casual community saying the argument, these pros need to chill out, it was all a bit of fun. With pros saying there's rules, there needs to be followed. But this is where it gets a little bit more complicated, because SypherPK argued that some pros also had coaches in their Discord calls, which they shouldn't have been doing. They should have been in the tournament Discord and not have coaches in their Discord calls. Although one of these coaches did come forward and say we wasn't aware of this. After we were made aware of this, obviously I exited the call and they went into the Discord call and we apologised and would have taken the point deduction that probably came with it. There's also this other angle where people were arguing Game 6 was always meant to be thrown. But by Muselk's own video and his own admission, he only came up with that idea after or just before Game 5.
For this next game, I had an idea. Us content creators have been getting smashed for the entire tournament. So I posted in chat, we should all go bananas and form a banana army. So for the final round of this tournament, things got a little bit crazy.
Although I would say that's how he's portraying it in the video, which might not be how it happened in real life, who knows. It seems like the tournament creators were sort of pushed into a corner and they had to accept what was happening and sort of let it happen. Also, people were saying, well, Game 6 didn't matter, but why is Aussie Antics during Game 6 saying, well, if people get into the Peely team and pretend to be a Peely if they're a pro player, they could get some points here.
They fall and Zentor's gonna try to see if he can sneak his way into the banana army and maybe get some free placement.
The whole thing for me is an utter mess. It's hard to know who's telling the truth, if anyone is actually telling the truth, to be fair. People are telling their truths of the scenario. It's actually hard to pinpoint what the hell is actually going on here. But SypherPK arguing an eye for an eye, oh well, you got a coach, you broke the laws, we didn't, I was not really comfortable with cheating, and don't cheat then. Oh, someone aimbotted, so I'm going to aimbot instead. Someone did this, so I'm going to do this instead. Is a absolutely abysmal argument. That's an abysmal argument. And this whole thing about Game 6 not counting doesn't really matter because people still finished in their places they were in Game 5. But you do understand, if you think you're going to play 6 games and you had a poor Game 5 or a good Game 5, you're thinking, well, we can really capitalise on the good Game 5 in Game 6. Or, don't worry guys, we can turn Game 5 around in Game 6, we can forget about it and try and get back up. I mean, I saw Reddish and Malabuka went up 7 places in Game 5. I rewatched from Scope's perspective. Now, they died early off spawn in the 6th game. And they said, oh, it looks like we're probably going to finish out the top 5 now. And then obviously a few minutes later, they see what's happening with the Peelies. And they're like, oh, we need to re-queue. So they thought Game 6 was counting. They didn't know any of this was going on until I think Cease checked DMs. But even Scope was like, oh, let the content creators have their fun. And they've got to re-queue Game 6.
If we wore the Peely skin, like no troll, we could have won the game. If this counts, like actually, we should have just worn the Peely skin and
no, it's not gonna count, bro. Absolutely no chance.
This whole scenario shows how quickly you can flip a narrative. I was watching at the end of the 6th game and I was going through the Twitch chat and it was very 50-50. Oh, well, this is some great fun. oh, this has completely ruined the tournament. You know, people can argue, well, the pro players are pro players and they're sweats and they ruin games. And people will also argue from the perspective, and I saw this more than several times, oh, here we go, the content creators thinking about their content, thinking about the money they're going to make on YouTube, this, that, and the other. But the angle of, oh, the pro players just want to win, they just want their money. So, two narratives, both being argued at the same time. This just shows the impossible situation that all these people find themselves in. Also, SypherPK saying about no one's going to remember this tournament, they're all going to remember the Peely army. Well, that isn't a good thing, Cypher. I don't know why you're coming from that perspective, but hey, you do you. Just because someone remembers something doesn't necessarily mean they remember it for the right reasons. So what is my conclusion on this whole scenario? Well, it does actually leave a bad taste in my mouth what Cypher and the content creators did. It did kind of ruin the vibe of the tournament. I guess if you also was watching the tournament and you're very eager to find out who wins it, and then that happens in the 6th game, that can leave a bad taste in your mouth. But I can also see from the point of view of the content creators who were missold this tournament. But again, I will go back to, that doesn't mean you have to ruin everyone else's game. So I feel like I'm leaning towards the pro players. And this whole thing about OG tournaments not being sweaty anyway. I mean, by Season 7, Season 6, I feel like most people were sweaty by that point. You also have to remember that these content creators are better than 99% of other players. It's just these 1% pro players they don't compete with. They can't. They're better than them. And that annoys them, I think, leading them to appear quite salty, actually. Like, OG Fortnite is gone. You will not just run through a lobby anymore. I mean, to be fair, I've watched some of their videos and they still run through lobbies, because they're still better than 99% of the player base. Obviously, of course, by next week we won't be talking about this, I'm sure, because we'll be talking about Chapter 5 and the end of Fortnite OG, so we can all move on back to the apparent sweaty game that we left behind in Chapter 4, when I still find it insanely sweaty even now. It's the players have changed, we're all better than what we were 5 years ago, we cannot go back to where we were 5 years ago. I'm sorry guys, it's just unattainable at this point. So of course guys, I am opening the floor to you guys to comment down below, and I will try and reply to all your comments and obviously what you think of what happened. Look, I am leaning towards the pro players, even though they also made mistakes, as well as the tournament hosts, as well as the content creators. Literally, everyone is to blame, but not at the same time, I guess. I don't know. See, it is such a difficult scenario. I feel like I'm even changing my opinion now, but I just feel like the tournament hosts need to do better next time if they do host a tournament. But guys, thank you to all the members this month that keep supporting the channel. I really do appreciate all your support. And guys, leave a like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's been your boy, Mr. JLY. Till next time, bye-bye.